Now, the free market in New Jersey just got a little less free. The Christie administration decided to throw around its weight in order to ban Tesla Motors from selling its cars in New Jersey. Yes, Chris Christie, fat pun. I'm a fat guy, so I can do that too. All right. Now, it's not really an outright ban on Tesla itself, but the rule basically says that all car companies in New Jersey have to sell their vehicles through franchised dealers instead of directly to customers. Now, Tesla has a direct sales model and owns its own stores. So really, it's sort of an underhanded ban in a way. Now, Tesla says it didn't even know about this proposed rules change until just before it passed. And get this, the commission that voted on this, which passed the rule unanimously, is chaired by a Chris Christie nominee and includes 3 members of Christie's cabinet. Something kind of stinks here. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. Christie's spokesman Kevin Roberts told the AP that officials made clear to Tesla that the company would have to go through the New Jersey legislature to legalize its direct sales model. Now let me kind of interpret that for you guys. If Tesla wants to play ball in Jersey, they're going to have to go and bribe the politicians more than the auto dealers already did. Now what am I talking about? Well, according to the Huffington Post, the ban comes after a big lobbying push by the auto dealers. The New Jersey Coalition of Automotive Retailers spent upwards of $150,000 on lobbying efforts last year. And dozens of individual car dealers and dealership groups donated heavily to Governor Chris Christie's campaign. All in all, Christie received more than $60,000 in donations from dealerships. On that fact alone, there really isn't any other conclusions that I can draw on this. This is about the money. Now, it's not just Libby McLibersons like me that are not happy about this. Okay, it's actual conservatives that see this as a government intruding into a private business in order to protect another business. This is crony capitalism that just happens to lobby heavily to protect their own interests. For the record, Texas, Arizona, New Jersey, and soon-to-be Ohio have actually banned Tesla from selling in their state with this direct sell model. And what do you guys think about this?
Yeah, this is this is far more egregious to me than the e-cig thing. As much as I think the e-cig thing is stupid, like this is just an example of people who take a position that really has nothing to do with their ideological beliefs. Like even back, like whenever I was younger and did lean a lot further right than I do now, like conservation was always important to me because I didn't see how it was political. Like it seemed like a fact thing, you know, like it was based in science, not politics. But yeah, this is them like supposedly saying they believe in the free market. What they really believe in are the people who have bought them off. And so, like, they sit there and they say things like renewable energy doesn't work, electric cars will never work, yada, yada, yada. And then they actively seek to make that a self-fulfilling prophecy, and they'll use the government to do it, which is, again, the definition of big government, of bad government, and is as far from a free market as you can possibly be. And it's not just Chris Christie, you know, who's doing this. Like you said, like states like North Carolina and Texas, other red states have passed these similar laws. Or in comparison, just the other day, I believe it was Norway. NPR did a story about like they have gone the exact opposite way to where like yeah, it's Norway. Like the electric car market there is exploding, and it's because basically, like the Norwegian government is subsidizing these cars to the tune of about $8,000 a year per car. So, like, we are going out of our way. Like, states are passing laws taxing people more for buying cars that don't destroy the planet. Where you know, it's just one more example of America like actively trying to to regress and to stick ourselves in in the dark ages, while the rest of the world moves on and leaves us in the dust.
Yeah, look, it's a good example of how this is all about. It's about the money. who's got the most money, who's going to give the most bribes to the politicians. That's really all this really is, other than, dirty politics, of course. And with trouble that Christie campaign, and I know we're not really going to get into the rest of the trouble that they're in, he's shown that he's pretty dirty and pretty corrupt over in New Jersey. But Sean, I want to get to you. What do you think about this?
Yeah, so I first want to talk about Tesla a little bit. I'm not the biggest fan of Tesla. I think that our government is basically subsidizing electric cars for rich people at the moment because they're a luxury car, basically. That being said, I mean, GM was bailed out, so their government subsidized.
Yeah, that's a fair argument.
This law is totally ridiculous. Like, this is why I'm quote-unquote anti-regulation, because everybody always says every problem can be solved by regulations, but 98% of the time, the purpose of the regulation is to ban somebody from the marketplace. And we see that in like a number of industries, a number of occupational licensing laws, and this is just one of the many. Like, here you have a company that is trying to innovate. Forget that they got the government money for a second. They're trying to innovate. They're building an electric car, but they don't have the infrastructure, because they're not that massive of a company, to have individual car dealerships everywhere. So basically what they're trying to do is sell the cars online, but have little showrooms so you could actually see the car. And according to the state of New Jersey and a lot of other states, you have to have a license to put cars in a room and have people walk in and look at them, which is absolutely ridiculous. Like, you could make arguments for medical licenses and legal licenses, because not knowing the law and being a lawyer, kind of important. Not knowing how to practice medicine and being a doctor, kind of important. But you're licensing a building so that humans can walk in it and look at a car. Like, it makes absolutely no sense, and it's absolutely ridiculous. And basically what this is doing is it's going to prevent people who aren't rich from buying Teslas, because if I'm a rich celebrity, then I can go fly to LA and look at the Tesla in person, or I can buy it online. I'll take the chance. If I'm an average guy like I am, like, there's no way I'm going to buy a car that I can't sit in and test drive and look at. Like, it's insane. So they're basically killing them, and they're doing it because this DMV board of New Jersey, or whatever the fuck it is chaired with a whole bunch of people from car dealerships.
And the funny thing too is that Christie is, goes on the shrink government. We're gonna have to shrink government, get government out of the marketplace. Oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna get government in your marketplace, because we are ideologically opposed to what you do. And there's the other part of it, I think, is that there's an ideological motive to it, but mostly it's about money.
Yeah, but clearly they're not ideologically opposed to it. As Sean has pointed out, and as I pointed out, this is not a conservative move. They're opposed to it, and it's based on what they actually believe, which is, hey, what's best for me is what's best for my donors. But if in terms of conservative ideology, bringing in big government to stifle innovation and kill off emerging markets is not a conservative free market principle.
But it's solar energy, so it's like Solyndra, and they hate Solyndra.
Well, it's not even solar energy. If you actually research this is one of the things that I find funny about electric cars. If you actually research, most of the time your electric car is being powered by coal power anyway, so it's kind of pointless. But
no, it's not. Jesus Christ, Sean! If you actually research it, you would know that the efficiency of a coal power plant charging thousands of electric cars is much, much more efficient than thousands of individual gas-burning cars. That's statistics.
That's over time if you drive the car for more than, it's something like 90,000 miles. Like, you can look it up. I'm not trying to bullshit. Because it also costs a lot more carbon to make the battery. But like I said, that's all irrelevant. The point is whether Tesla or any other car company, you notice how we don't have any new car companies ever, can start up and sell cars however they want. Like, it's ridiculous that you need a license to show people vehicles and then say, do you want to buy it? Like it makes no sense. There's no reason that a special license should exist. You can make a argument for a business license, just a general license, but like these special licenses to cut hair, to look at cars, to arrange flowers, to interior decorate, like all these things are just barriers to entry intentionally put there by entrenched industry forces. And that's what the electric car is running up against right now.
And, you know, and despite all those roadblocks, Tesla has actually been doing really well, at least their stock. Recent reports have shown, I mean, they started their stock at about 50 bucks a share. They're up to 250, and they're doing actually really well. So, I mean, Teslas are expensive. Don't get me wrong. They're about 70. They start at like 71,000 for a new Tesla, and they only offer one model. But nonetheless, I think despite some of the barriers being put in their way, they're actually doing really well.
They are, but here's the thing. So here's what's going to happen, man. They're going to do really well everywhere else in the world but America. And this is one more thing that we're shooting ourselves in the foot for. Give it a decade or two. If we keep this up, I really don't think we will. I do honestly have enough faith in the American people that we are not going to continue to actively oppose renewable resources. But at the rate we're going now, if this trend keeps up, then the rest of the world is going to have access to these awesome electric cars, and we're going to be stuck driving technology that's a century old, and we're just going to continue to stifle innovation, and it's going to hurt every aspect of American life.
Honestly, I don't even think this is an electric car story per se, because Chevy, Nissan, like all these are coming out with electrics or better hybrids or all that. This is about entrenched market forces forcing out a new industry. And the sad thing is that if this works and they put Tesla out of business, then what's going to end up happening is either the electric car this iteration of the electric car will go away and be buried for another couple of years, or they're going to end up having to sell the pieces of Tesla to the very companies that are banning them from the marketplace. Because that's what happens in reality. This is like if they put you out of business, they also will consolidate your ideas. So this is about
which is super ironic given the namesake of Tesla. Like, or maybe ironic is not the word. Maybe it's fitting, I guess. But yeah, that's a good thing to point out there.
For sure. All right. So yeah, this is more of a crony capitalist sort of story. An issue, and I think the Christie administration is putting on ridiculous sort of regulations to try and help their entrenched interests, and it's just it's just not good.
These are standard regulations. They're in almost every industry. Like you can't cut hair without a license. You can't drive a taxi without a license. It's crazy, but there's one more thing I want to add in, because a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, if Tesla's model succeeds of direct sales, then you're going to lose a lot of jobs. Well, I mean, new industries often ruin jobs or misplace jobs from old industries, and if the model of GM and all these car companies is really better, then that won't happen. And if it does happen and you're really worried about that and you want the government to protect old jobs, then the government should ban online news to save the newspapers. It should, there's lots of industries that you can crush to save old industries.
I'm really glad you brought that point up, because if we're going to put jobs over innovating to doing better things, I mean, maybe there should be a balance that should be struck. But as a progressive, I'm really in favor of actual societal progress and technological progress and all that. And I think that whenever there's a new market that's created from a new technology, there are jobs there. And we can't just avoid that progress to protect old jobs. And that's like saying that, well, now that we have we have to protect the typewriter industry even though we've got computers. That's stupid. It's ridiculous, and it's not necessary. Hey, if you enjoyed this clip, make sure to like and leave a comment below, or even share. Sharing is caring. If you want to see more TYT Nation videos, go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TYTNation. Thank you for watching.